Welcome to another episode of Line Defense Podcast. I am your host, Quinton Coples, where we have thought-provoking conversations that may need your line of defense. All right, today it's gonna be a rough one today. I'm gonna rough up some feathers, ruff some shoulders the wrong way with some different people, but we gotta talk about a few things that's going on in the security world, mostly federal. A couple days ago, not necessarily sure what day specifically it was, but there was a protest in a church in Minneapolis. Some protesters went in, anti-ICE protesters went in and actually took over a service of worship. And I have some strong feelings about it. One, as a man of God, I do believe in protection of freedom of religion, worship, speech, etc. I think that there's a time and a place for protests. I'm not against protests, but when you invade a church to protest an agenda that you believe to be true, I don't believe that ICE agents are just rallying up random people. I do think that there are some Americans who have been misjudged. Very few, I think it's less than 1%, that have been caught up in crossfire in regards to being arrested and detained federally by ICE agents.
Renee Good! Renee Good! Renee Good! Don't shoot! 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 Shame! Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? I'm not going to comment. You have no comment, exactly. Renee Good! Renee Good! All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit as a preacher. Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would die within it. You do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens. Hey, you can't. You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now. Out now. Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie and he hangs out with Chrissy Noem. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian. Act like one.
But I don't believe that it's to the point where, they're getting confused. These guys have missions and details that identifies the people or the subjects that they're looking for, and they go to those addresses and locations that they believe they are at. Once they find them, they arrest them, detain them, and put them within the process of being deported. Okay, here's why I don't really care about what political side you're on in regards to what side of the table you prefer being on, what set you bang, anything of that nature. My issue is when it comes to this church protest, what were you gaining? Like, what was the agenda? What was the point? Okay, there is a pastor who's a leader of the federal ICE department in Minneapolis or state of Minnesota. Cool. What does that have to do with you interrupting the service? He's going to come out to leave from the church that you could have protested and asked him questions and ambushed him with a bunch of questions in your presence there. But you decided to go inside the church. And one thing, as you guys know about, the security world or protection world, I hate bullies. I've been very vocal about bullies, my disgrace for them. I don't think there's no place for them. There's no time to be a bully. There's no place to be a bully. Nothing is gratifying or is satisfying for you being a bully. And I feel like this was a bully move. I don't think that it's necessary for you to protest ICE in the church. I think it's necessary for you to wait if you're really that mad or you're that angry about it. Why not do it while he's in uniform? I mean, you're already out there protesting while they're in uniform anyway. Why not wait till then? Here's why I think this is a big issue. It's a big issue because once we lose the protection of worship in this country, then everything else goes away. The beautiful part of freedom that we get, it goes down the drain. When we don't have an opportunity to worship God freely, now you start talking about becoming countries like China, becoming countries like Russia, becoming countries like the adversaries that we have globally. There's no place for any interruptions. Have there been situations or one-offs or examples where, there was people who have been arrested in church? Yes. Shot at church? Yes. Etc. Again, I don't care what side politically you're on. I don't think there's no place for us to be able to literally walk into a worship service and enforce our rules on the congregation, the pastor, and all parties involved. You can't make it a right situation. Now, we've watched Christians get beheaded in Africa. We will watch somebody invade the church. We've watched someone in South Carolina, go and kill 12 people or 9 to 12 people in a Wednesday night service in South Carolina. We've watched pastors get stabbed. We watched pastors have shot attempts. We've seen all these different acts in regards to attacking the faith. And the beautiful part about this is if you go back and look in history, us being a traditional Judeo-Christian country is what brought the glory and the grace of God over our lives to be able to have the freedom and the luxury that we do. And so as a man of God, I stand here firmly to say, choose wisely when it comes to the churches that you want to go in and impose your will on. Every church is not going to respond the same. Every church doesn't have the same security protocols. But if you are a church who don't think security is necessary, if you are a church that don't believe that protection is necessary, here's another example of the many examples that we've had that should give you some insight that if you're not prepared, you're preparing for the worst to happen. So I leave that with that and say, hey, listen, respect all federal agents, respect ICE. What you guys are actually doing is just blocking your police. So let's say the police was going to get somebody who just shot somebody in your neighborhood or shot somebody at a local mall or local grocery store. What you guys are doing on a federal level is protesting the police who's going to get the person who just shot somebody in broad daylight. Again, regardless of your politics or how you feel, these people have infiltrated our country. You crossed the border illegally, whether you want to believe it's a felony or a misdemeanor. The Constitution states differently. It states otherwise. There's law and order, okay? If I break the law, there's a fine or a penalty that comes with that. If you break the law, there's a fine and a penalty that comes with that. I don't understand why we don't want law and order now, man. When we don't have law and order, we become lawless. And we become countries like Mexico. We become ran over with in South America and in Colombia. Like we become overran by criminal activity. Now, there's criminality on all levels in America. However, the Justice Department, the moral conduct of the threads of American people are what has kept this country afloat in the grace of God. So if we want to continue to play this game, again, I don't care about the political stuff. My thing is I've communicated with victims on both sides, right? So I've had people who has provided government assistance that I'm aware of, and then I've also seen take out people who receive government assistance at a higher level. Now, if you believe that the Americans who need the government assistance should have less assistance than the guys and gals who are coming from different countries, then maybe you should not be American. I would say that. Maybe you should think about that. Like, American grandma and granddaddy get less benefits than an illegal immigrant that comes across the border. They get a Mercedes-Benz and a $10,000 voucher they're living in a 5-star hotel. Grandma get a little bit of money for some food and groceries, and then she got to scrape and, figure out how to pay her bills and borrow from her family, or her family got to step in and pitch in and make sure her family good. Which one seems more reasonable? Again, take the politics out of it. Which one seems more reasonable? The American grandma whose work is just disabled at this point, so she can't actually do what she wants to do because she's grew old and she's disabled, and she's relying on the government to pay her bills and at least feed her for the next month. Or you got this illegal person who came over and they get a Mercedes-Benz, an up-to-date car, $10,000 voucher, and a place to stay in one of the most luxurious hotels, depending on where you're at. Which one makes more sense to you? For me, I don't care if it's white, black, blue, or brown. The American grandmama that is relying on the government to be able to give her some assistance so she can live the rest of her life in one piece is more important to me than the illegal immigrant who just came over here through some type of political agenda to, quote, get some type of assembly, whatever it may be. Do it the right way and get your bread in. We all this is a capitalistic country. You can figure it out. There's businesses that could be set up. There's businesses you could join. Figure it out. But I'm here to protect the kids and the grandmamas that deserve that assistance. And I just don't see logically why anybody that's American can support illegal Americans or illegal immigrants over the actual legal Americans. So I'm going to leave it with that. Again, stay out of ICE way, man. They're the federal police. That's what they are. They're just the federal police. Respect law and order. I don't want to see this country go down in flames. And again, I know you guys think, oh, we just get rid of ICE or we just defund the police. You're going to go into a lawless country. And I promise you, the safety and the freedom that you have to go to the grocery store right now, to go to a mall, to be able to drive down the road, secure, not really worried about no issues. Only thing you really got to worry about is the speed limit. I promise you, the day that we don't have law and order in this country will be the day that you can't just walk out your house, the day that you might not even have your house, the day that your house might be even taken over by criminals or burnt down or seized by criminals. I promise you, you're not going to be able to call the police. You're not going to be able to call your local government, your local mayor, anybody to come help you, because we're going to be in a lawless society. And if you don't believe it's true, what I would tell you to do is, so you don't have to see this coming to fruition, go play Grand Theft Auto with some high schoolers online and see, can you maintain your car? See, can you maintain the house that you get within the game? Just see, can you maintain that while playing with some high schoolers online and some older adults, and see how far that gets you. And if you can survive, I give you this, if you can survive a week on the game with all your clothes, all your cars, all your houses, all your money, I will encourage you to do it. That's how sure I am that you won't survive a lawless country. I know a lot of you guys have watched this show. I've got the metrics back, but this is what I need you to do. I need you to like. I need you to subscribe. I need you to follow me. I need you to also tune in on different platforms. It helps the message go. It helps me get this message out to the people who need to hear it. It helps have different guests on the podcast, and it allows us to continue to give you thought-provoking conversations that may need your line of defense. So make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. Till next time, this has been Line of Defense Podcast. I'm your host, Quinton Coples, and I'll see you on the next episode.